Hey friends, you probably know that we're huge Playwright fans here at Checkly, and we have some major news. We just released a new feature, Playwright Check Suites, that allow you to run your Playwright scripts as synthetic monitors like never before. So buckle up, this is what this video is about, and we're gonna talk Playwright. Let's go. In case you haven't noticed, Microsoft's end-to-end testing framework Playwright is having a real moment and has taken over the entire testing market. The framework shines with an excellent developer experience, multiple browser support, multi-threading, and everybody's most favorite feature, Playwright tracing. So whenever you're facing failing or flaky test cases, you have all the information available to understand what is going on. Let it be the network waterfall, JavaScript exceptions, all the actions that your test has been taking. Everything is right there at your fingertips. And the community reacts to this. Almost 80,000 GitHub stars and 12 million weekly NPM downloads cannot be wrong, right? But if we now have such a wonderful tool available, why do we only use it for testing? In your common Playwright project, you usually run Playwright somewhere in CI/CD in a single location to test and double check your preview environments. But if we now, thanks to Playwright, have figured out how to test our UIs, websites, and apps, why do we stop there? And why don't we run the same code base from around the world? And why don't we all schedule all these Playwright runs? I mean, the problem of UI end-to-end testing seems to be solved now. Why don't we use it for production end-to-end monitoring to get alerted, to be the first one to know when something is off in production? Like, honestly. And that's why we came together at Checkly and we developed and now released Playwright Check Suites that allow you to take your existing Playwright codebase and use it for synthetic monitoring. Let me show you how they work. Here we are in my PWT workshop store project, which is an e-commerce site that I use for Playwright testing, and Playwright is already set up and running so that I can run npx Playwright Test. The project includes the standard Playwright config at the root of the project, and here we have 4 different spec files that test the cart functionality, the login, some product search, so all the good stuff that would need to be tested in a common e-commerce scenario. In this case now, I was running all the tests included in the project, so we executed 9 tests using 5 workers, and for the end-to-end testing scenario before releasing a new feature, this is a valid approach, right? However, in a monitoring scenario, you usually want to pick the tests that are most important to you. So let me show you how you can do that. To run your existing Playwright codebase in the Checkly infrastructure, you can use the Checkly CLI and you can use the pwtest command. The Checkly Playwright Test command allows you to run and test your Playwright tests in the Checkly infrastructure. And whenever you want to run Playwright in the cloud, you need a publicly available base URL. So when we now go here, you will find that this project either accesses a shop base URL environment variable, and otherwise it will run against localhost 3000. So when I was just running all these Playwright tests, they were running locally against my local e-commerce store. And also, if I now would like to use this existing Playwright codebase for synthetic production monitoring, I really don't want to run all the tests. This is why this Playwright config here defines multiple projects, and here we have one project that is called Checkly, and it grabs for all the critical tests that are included in the project. So here we have, for example, add to cart is critical. Then we have here login is critical, so that we can pick and choose all the tests that we want to run on a schedule, and they should fail fast if there's something off, because we don't want to wait 15 minutes for all the tests to run, right? So we're picking here all the critical test cases that we want to set as synthetic monitors. With this base setup done, we can now go to the terminal and we can call npx checkly pwtest, and we pass here an environment variable that will be set in the Checkly infrastructure. So this is where my e-commerce store is available. It's deployed on Vercel, and I want to run only the tests that are included in the Checkly project. And now check this out. When I run pwtest here from my local machine, this now bundles the project, all the Playwright code that I have here, and will take this to run it in the Checkly infrastructure. So let's see what's happening. So we have here already, all right, the test case is running. We're running from US East 1, and this all works without any additional configuration. So we're running now here 3 critical tests in 3 workers in Checkly. And this is just me using a single command, and you see it already, we now had 3 passing Playwright tests running in the Checkly infrastructure. But where do the results go now? Whenever you run your Playwright tests using the pwtest command, you will receive a handy test session report that is available here under this URL. Let's have a look. So this is our Playwright test with the Checkly project. And when we look into this, here we have the executed tests. Here we have the results. And this will make you feel right at home because it very much looks like the general Playwright test report. You can even check out the trace files in case there was a failure. So everything works plug and play. And this is how Playwright Check Suites allow you to run your existing Playwright code base without any constraints or adjustments. But this was just a single test run. Let's use Playwright Check Suites to run and start monitoring Playwright against production. When we've been running the pwtest command, we used the -e flag to pass our shop base URL environment variable. And this makes it flexible enough to test, for example, preview environments or preview deploys to run these then in the Checkly infrastructure. For the monitoring case though, we want to set this base URL to be used by all the monitors. So we need to add this environment variable to the general Checkly infrastructure. And we can do that here right from the command line. And we can call npx checkly env add. And here we have the shop base URL and the URL where my production site lives. In Checkly, you can do everything from the command line. So you can create, update monitors and delete environment variables. Everything is just configurable from the CLI using monitoring as code. And now that we added the environment variable, we can take our command from earlier, we can remove the E flag, and now check this out, we can call here the command with the create check flag. And this now sets up the required Checkly configuration files. We now created a new Checkly config file that sits in the root of the project, and this includes all the general Checkly configuration. And now check this out. We have here now a Playwright checks property that has here a certain logical ID. This is how we identify the project. You can define the test command where you want to run this Playwright check suite from. Then we can define a frequency. So this is how you would overall configure your Playwright tests running on its schedule as synthetic monitors. And if you're now happy with your Checkly monitoring configuration, you can reach for another command. So when you use npx checkly test, you can run all your defined monitoring resources. So we have here now one Playwright Check Suite, but it could also be an API monitor, an DNS monitor, multi-step checks. So we have a variety of different check types, and then you can test them out before you transform them into monitors. So when I now run npx checkly test with the -- record flag, because I want to keep all the artifacts that will be generated from our Playwright test, it again will bundle the project and it will now run it in the Checkly infrastructure. So here we have it. We have here our Playwright test project Checkly. It's running in US East, which is defined in the Checkly config. So whenever we run test, it is running from US East. And this is now similar to what we just did with the pwtest command, but now we're working with the actually Checkly constructs and monitoring definition. Again, we could now access all the Playwright results, but we just have run this command like 2 minutes ago. And I trust that everything is all right now, that we have here a green check mark. But are you ready for some magic now? So at this point, we have run our Playwright test suite that we had locally with the pwtest command. Then we created our Playwright check suite definition and then tested it again using Checkly test. And all that's missing now is deploying this and turning on our monitoring. And for that, we can call npx checkly deploy. Here we go. This will now ask for confirmation and now check this out. Yes, we want to deploy that. And this is all it takes to now start monitoring your project using Playwright. Let me show you what this means. So we're here in the home dashboard of my Checkly account, and you already see that I have multiple Playwright check suites running. They're all running from different locations. They all have a different schedule. And here we have this Playwright check suite that we just deployed. When you look into it, you will find all the results, you will find some performance statistics, information about errors, all the alerts that this check suite might have triggered. And when you then want to dive deeper, all the information, of course, will be available. So we have here all the things that we already had a look at. And this is all available as Checkly monitoring using your Playwright codebase. And I honestly think this is pretty sweet. With Playwright Check Suites, you can take your favorite testing tool, Playwright, and use it and make it your monitoring solution. And I think this is just a no-brainer when you have a comprehensive and advanced Playwright setup to ensure that everything is running in production. And Playwright Check Suites really support everything that Playwright can do. We support all the native Playwright goodies like auto-weighting, trace files, private dependencies, shared storage. All of these things work plug and play so that you can take your existing Playwright codebase and turn it into the cloud to run as monitoring. So there's full Playwright feature parity without any compromises or constraints. And the best thing, we at Checkly believe that Playwright is the future, and with Playwright Check Suites, you're ready for whatever the Playwright ecosystem builds next. And I think this is just a good feeling to be on the safe side. And this was our new feature, Playwright Check Suites. It just went into GA. When you have any questions or feedback, drop them below. I will add some links to documentation, but I am super excited, and let me know how it goes and start monitoring your stuff with Playwright. I tell you, you won't regret it.